welcome back, dude.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me back.
No, dude, I'm excited about this. I know you and I spoke about a week ago, and we had a late night conversation, and I thought about you for a long time. Dante's like, man, you should reach out to Nolan about this.
Dante's one man.
And but I wanted to talk to you, and we're just gonna dive right into this. You're an ex-NFL player. You're an African-American young entrepreneur in America. You're doing amazing things. I mean, you did amazing things on the field. You lived that life. You're an entrepreneur. You're investing in Jacksonville athletics. You're involved. You're in the game. Your mom was a lieutenant governor in the state of Florida, and you're just a real guy. And I thought about you immediately because I've been wanting to have this conversation that for a lot of people is delicate. For me, I don't find it as delicate, but I understand why for some people it may be somewhat delicate. But I wanted to dive into the elephant in the room, and that is obviously the race issues that continue in our country, the politics that continue in our country, and I remember in 2020 there was a lot of talk of when certain things happen, this will all go away. It's not going away. I actually think it's getting worse. But one of the things that I've been listening for a year, man. I've dialed in on my passion always wants me to speak, and that's who I am as a human being. But I really think I've listened a lot. I've tried to listen a lot. I'm a pretty open-minded dude, but as I've listened in the last year, Nolan, I keep going back to the one word, the one word that is driving this challenge in America. A country that I love, a country that has given me everything I have. Thank God for, like we were talking earlier, my grandparents left Cuba in the early 60s and left everything. And now, through God's grace, I have a business. I was drafted by Major League Baseball. I got a free education. I have friends. I'm free. I have an amazing life. I can't complain. And that's because of the country that I love so much that provided that opportunity. But I'm concerned for our country, Nolan. I'm concerned for our humanity, right? Because we don't have a country if we don't have a humanity. And the one thing that I realized in the last year is I've never seen so much fear in my life. I've never, or maybe it's been here and I just lack of awareness of it. But I've never seen it like this. And when I started the whole transition podcast, or one of the main purposes of that was, I know what fear is like. I know what it is, that battle fear. I know what it's like when I transitioned from baseball and, figuring out what you're going to do with your life. And we all have fears, right? It's a part of being human. I think fear serves its amazing purpose, but fear is now dividing people. Fear now is literally destroying our country. And it's dividing us. And I'm concerned because nobody wants to talk about it because everybody's so afraid of the woke culture and the cancel culture.
All that stuff.
And let me tell you something, man. I can give a shit, really. And I have to say that with a lot of passion about woke culture and cancel culture because I know who I am as a human being. And I know that I love people, whether they're black, Asian, white, I don't know, from anywhere. I love people, right? Because I know that I'm a child of God, and we're all from God, and thank God. God has like the grand architect, right? Like He didn't make us all the same. I don't visit the Bahamas to think that I'm like I want to go visit different people and different cultures, and that's the whole beauty of life. But I wanted to talk to you about this whole division, this whole race thing, and I guess I'll start off with where are your thoughts of this, Nolan, as an African-American young entrepreneur in America who was in the NFL? Obviously, the NFL took a hard stance in 2020 and the whole Colin Kaepernick situation and it's everywhere. What with you being inside, like, and not to talk about the NFL, but more of you as a Black African American, what do you feel? What are your thoughts, man, as from the outside looking in?
Yeah, so in 2016, when the whole Kaepernick thing happened, I was in it from the beginning. So for us, and me looking at it now, just the totality of the last 4 or 5 years, it really just comes down to the community banding together. And you're seeing less and less of that. And we talked about it before we got on here. It's us taking ownership of our own towns, our own communities. That's the only way you can make the biggest difference. And my mom, she was in politics, and the one thing that she taught us, or that we got from her being in politics, was if you don't like what's going on, change it yourself. Run for a seat and try and change it that way. Because if you're able to do that and people see what you're trying to do and make a change in the community, it'll take some time, but people will rally around you. They'll start to believe what's going on. Because my mom was a lieutenant governor, but prior to that, she got into politics in 2002. She didn't become lieutenant governor until 2010. So it was 8 years of work. Even prior to that, it was probably a decade worth of work that she had to put in where people didn't understand, well, why are you doing this? Why are you giving back to the community? It's because I want to see a change. I want to create that change not only for myself, but for my children. I want my children to grow up in the proper environment. I want my children to have a better education than I had. I want to create opportunities better than what I had. Because my mom was an immigrant, just like your parents. Immigrant, came from Trinidad, and she worked her way up. She was in the Navy. She enlisted as an aviation mechanic. So she started from the very bottom. And back in the 70s, it was not heard of to have a woman in the Navy as an aviation mechanic, let alone be a black woman as an aviation mechanic. So we understood what she had to go through, and we understand what's going on in the community. And it just sucks that you have this division through, you said, fear, because nobody's respecting anybody's opinion. Nobody's valuing what people are saying. It's either this is what I'm saying and you have to agree with me, or you're the enemy. And that's how it shouldn't be. We should be able to have a healthy dialogue amongst each other, different races. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian. None of that matters. It's can we talk to each other to build a proper solution, not for ourselves, but for other generations coming down the line. And people aren't seeing past themselves. It's only, what can I do now to benefit myself? And I think that a lot of guys that are trying to get in front of the movement and trying to do things, it's commendable, but at the same time, the value shouldn't only just be about you getting in front of a camera and talking about what you want to do or how you're trying to do it, if you're not really trying to give back to the community. If all you're doing is just getting on TV all the time and speaking about it, but not putting any action behind those words, it's just going to keep being the same cycle like you're seeing. It's getting worse because nothing has really changed. If you really look at it, nothing has changed. And they're trying to mask it like, oh yeah, things are changing. It's taking a little while. It shouldn't get worse. It really should. Next day should be at least something should be implemented here to stop the bleeding. And at least here's a plan for change. This is the projection we're going at. You guys need to get in line, or these are the things that we need to do in the community to get stuff going. I'm not seeing enough of that. And it's really up to us to start taking ownership. And I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about everybody. Start taking ownership within the communities to bring change. Because that's the only way you can really make noise is if you start in your local areas, then start bringing noise nationally to let everybody know this is what we're doing in our area. Hopefully you guys can copy it, or we can at least help you copy it to create change. And I think that's where it starts.
And I agree, man. I believe change starts in your four walls. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that when you talk about racial matters or political matters, you know, one of the things that I completely disagree with is, you know, always depending on our government to find the answer. You know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's my Cuban background, maybe it's the athlete in me, and I think you would you can understand the athletics mindset, as you know. You know, when everything that you have in your life, you got to work for. Yeah. You got to work for it. You got to go through pain. You got to endure adversity, and it ain't free. You know, liberty is not free. Mm-hmm. And on this earth, I don't know why, you're gonna endure pain, and you're gonna endure adversity. But there's a beauty to that, man. I think there's nothing more beautiful than, you watch an Olympian, right? Mm-hmm. Who's been training their whole life for that one race. And when they finally win it, when you see, a 25-year-old guy, fall to his knees and carry his gold medal.
You feel
and
that.
fall, and you see him crying
Mm-hmm.
like a baby. Or when you saw Kobe Bryant win with the Lakers and grab the trophy the work that was put in to finally achieve that is what brought out those emotions, and it's what makes that so worth what it is. Mm-hmm. And I think that we all have a gift. Every single human being comes into this world with a God-given gift. Mm-hmm. And it's your job to go find, to figure out what that gift is. Mm-hmm. Now, with that said, I'm very empathetic to environments. And I'm very, I said something yesterday, and I wrote this down, and every once in a while I write down stuff on my little Instagram platform, and I said, we're not all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And we're not. Everybody has different challenges. Everybody has different, COVID has affected, certain businesses one way, and it has affected other businesses another way, and other people have grown from it,
Yeah.
But what I do know is that change is constant, challenges are constant, adversity is constant. It's a part of life. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I know for a fact is that you have the power to be the resilient human being that you want to be. And anytime that you tell me, that something's going to be given to you, my guard goes up, man. Mm-hmm. Because I know for a fact, Nolan, that nothing in life is given to you
at all,
other than your free will and the opportunities that you manifest and create for yourself. Mm-hmm. And there's this, as I look at America and we look at, racial division, and when we look at, our politicians and we print more money and we're just giving, this is a catastrophe waiting to happen. Yeah. And I say that, and I'll be honest with you, I feel it when I say that, because I don't want that to happen. Yeah. And nor do I want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying, but I'm like, guys, we need to wake up. Like, you don't want nothing given to you. All you want in life is for somebody to give you an opportunity. Yeah. Our government is here to, first of all, keep us safe, and thank God and thank you to all our troops who serve every single day. We will never, ever understand what you go through and what your families go through and your wives go through and what your husbands go through and your children. I'll never get it because I never sat under a rock in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Okay? But I have an obligation as a human being to represent those people by how we live our life. Mm-hmm. And our government protects us, and we create funds and programs for that, right? And there's, we need regulation, and we need things to be, vetted and whatnot. But anytime that I hear, I'm going to depend on the government in doing this, or, a stimulus package, and then it scares me because I see what people are doing. Look, Nolan, real talk. You walk into, the shops at Aventura, it's Tuesday afternoon, you're thinking people should be working, right? And everybody's at a Chanel store buying
Louis
purses.
Store or a Louis store.
Right? Like, I'm just keeping it real, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is sustainable for our country. As you're a businessman, I'm a businessman. You're trying to create jobs. I'm creating jobs. You know what it takes.
Yeah.
The investment, the sacrifice, and we love it. We're called to do that, and we're in love with what we do.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact that we're not going to be able to do that if the people that we're trying to help, right, buy into a mindset of, you know what, man, I just want the government to take care of me, and almost remove the spirit of your dreams in life.
Yeah.
I
do. You said it right. I mean, I just think it comes down to the government has created such a crutch for society that everybody's just dependent on it. And that creates that mindset, well, somebody else is going to do it for me. It goes back to, I got to take ownership of myself. And I've been seeing, especially unemployment, all these guys have to do is say, oh, I went to apply for a job. They probably get the job, but they're not taking it because they know the government's paying them unemployment. Those are the things that's causing a problem. It needs to be a stopgap in it. Look, we're only going to supply you another month or so. You got to get a job. You got to put the ownership back on somebody else to say, oh, they're not helping me anymore. I got to go and do this by myself. I got to find a way to survive. And I know there's different people that have different situations. There's probably people out there that really deserve and they need the money. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that you're saying are taking these people.
Abusing the system.
They're going to the Chanel store. They're going to the Louis store. They're standing in these lines, spending the $1,000, $2,000 that they get when there's someone that really needs it to continue to stay in the roof over their head because they got 3, 4 kids and they're just trying to make it. They're trying to find some way. Those are the people that really need it. And society has taught us that there are all these YouTubers that have become overnight successes that are showing the Ferraris, showing the Lambos, showing on these trips. So all these people, if that's all you're seeing all the time, you're going to think, that's all I want to do. But you're not embracing the process. You just want to get to the final step. And like you said, the process is where you really appreciate everything that you're doing. And that's what I've been stressing too, is always fall in love with the process, because when you get to the end destination, you'll know that everything that you've done, you didn't skip steps. Everything that you work for is because of you sacrificing the time, you knowing that if I have bad days, it's fine. It's all a part of the challenges in this process that make you really appreciate the end goal that you want to achieve. And when you're passionate about something, you really wake up every day not expecting something bad to happen. You're waking up every day knowing that you're making a change. And every single day that you wake up, your drive is to find somebody that you can help to create that change, because it's a snowball effect. You help that one person is going to help another. That other person is going to help another. All based off of your values, your intuitions, your experiences that you pass to them. And that's what we need to get back into and start doing. And I don't want to say finger pointing, but we have to start telling people, look, you have to take control of your own life. Nobody else, Superman's not going to come and save you. The bank's not going to come and say, hey, look, we'll give you $1 million. It's not happening. So you have to really get in your mindset that I can do this. I need to do this for the well-being of myself and the generations behind me to really make a change, not rely just on the government or just rely on whoever you might think is going to come and save you, because you're more interested in just looking the part on Instagram so everybody can give you likes. It's deeper than that. And we got to, however it happens, we got to find a way to do it. And what me and you are doing right now is the proper way. We're not always getting accolades for everything, and the stuff that we do is not always being seen all the time, but that's fine, because we know the end goal is us being successful in the way that we're giving back and changing lives. Just look at what you're doing. I see it just with Dante. He's a prime example. He's a guy that I met 3 years ago, and he wasn't even involved in this. But now you've got him so immersed in this job. He loves it so much that he believes in everything that you're doing, and you gave him that opportunity. So now he's taking it upon himself to treat this company like it's his. And that's what we need to get back into. You're giving back to people in a way that you can't even explain, because I can see it on his face all day.
Yeah.
He's excited on what he does. I don't do insurance. I would not be excited to do this. But from whatever you've taught him over the last few years, he's really taken it and run with it, because he sees the values that you're bringing to the table. He sees your mindset. And the more we can get into that and pass these values down, the better it will be for all of society. Like I've been saying, the more that we can do stuff locally in the community to get people to rally around, the bigger this can get.
Now that you brought up Dante, I want to share a story about Dante here real quick that I think is collaborates what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I meet Dante through Kelly Pierce, and she goes, hey, there's this guy I want you to meet. He runs his children's ministry, and he's just a good dude, and he's been involved in property management and whatnot. And I said, let me meet him. Let me see what we can do. And Dante, from the minute that he walked through these doors, he had a smile. And he had an energy and an aura about him that I just knew for a fact he was a fit for our culture. Mm-hmm. I just knew it. I don't know why. I spent 2 minutes with the guy. I'm like, I'm in, and that's my gift sometimes. Like I just know. Mm-hmm. Same way I know when like someone's not a fit for us. And I didn't know what he was going to do. I don't know if he was a fit for what primary position.
Yeah.
But I knew he had character. I knew he had a passion. Mm-hmm. And I saw the hunger in his eyes. Yeah. Now, Dante's a kid who comes from, Ohio. I believe his pops was a police officer, and he went to Bowling Green University. He's an educated, very educated kid, very, very well-spoken, very professional, very well-mannered. But what I didn't know about Dante that day is that Dante's car had broken down on the way to the interview. And he literally didn't know what to do. And I can't remember exactly what he did, but I think he found a mechanic or he got a ride from somebody, and he made it here. He said he was sweating. He was stressed out of his mind.
Really?
But this is my point. Dante that day had a mission. And there was nothing that could have stopped Dante from showing up at JAG to interview that day.
Yeah.
That is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
His resiliency to persevere and to say, man, you know what? I want an opportunity to meet with these people. God willing, it's going to change his life. Mm-hmm. And now he's a producer and he's growing. And that drive, man.
That's cool, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like he didn't allow that circumstance. He could have said, my car is not working, excuse, this is not meant to be. Mm-hmm. He didn't go into a victimization mindset.
At all.
He took a deep breath. He said, God, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to get there. And he did. Mm-hmm. And he earned his. Mm-hmm. And now, look where he's going in his life.
Yeah. Other
people would probably, the people with the mindset that I think we're trying to help. And this is not taking jabs to nobody, okay? Mm-hmm. But the people with the mindset, man, maybe they've been taught this mindset, that the world is out to get you. Mm-hmm. It wasn't meant to be. Man, you know what's meant to be? What you make it be.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think
the
word you said, victimization, I think that is, it's not like people are trying to be victims. I think they're using their stories and experiences, but then people are just taking the victimization part of it and just saying, hey, this happened to this person, and this is what's been going on forever. And then guys now are thinking, this is how it's always been, that's how it's always going to be. And they're playing into that same role. Because I was like you. I listened for a whole year of what everybody was saying. And the one thing that I kept hearing was old stories of victimization. It really, and another thing too about Dante, it probably starts at the home. He had that mindset because it started at home. That's the only real reason why. And that's why we got to get back to the home. We got to make sure that that's right. Because if it's not,
amen.
These kids aren't, they're going to look for somebody that they think is the right influence, but there's a lot of bad influences out here. And just because that person made it their way, you don't know what they had to do. You don't know if they did something bad, they did something good, they skipped steps, they cheated somebody along the way. That's what those people are not telling these kids. So there's a broken process in there where if they're not getting it at home, they're trying to find the next thing that they think is close to a father figure or a mother figure. And they're just attaching themselves to it. And if it's bad, well, the kid doesn't know any better. He's just following what he sees because he's not getting that example at home. And then it just becomes a cycle again, because when this guy grows up, who's going to be following him? There's probably 3 or 4 other kids that's following this guy behind, or girl that sees what he's doing. Mm-hmm. They act the same way. Now you got 4 or 5 more guys like that. And you got 10 kids that are like that, 20, 30, 1,000. And now you're wondering what's going on with my community. So it really starts at home. But just the 2 words that you brought up, the victimization and also at Dante's home, that really, for me, it resonated because I had both my parents at the house. And both my parents were both military. And if I didn't have that, then I don't think I'd be sitting here with you today.
There's no doubt. And look, psychologists will tell you this. Statistics show you this. When you have a mom and a dad in a home, it helps. Mm-hmm. I come from divorced parents, but man, I was lucky that my father, he never left me. He was there for us. Mm-hmm. And there's something about this leads to another topic about, when we start talking about racial issues and shootings and all this other stuff that's happening in the world or in our country primarily. The first thing I ask myself when I see these things happen is like, where's this kid's dad?
Yeah.
Where's dad? I'll give you an example. The kid who was shot in Chicago in the alley. I don't know if you saw that one.
I didn't see that one.
So there was a kid who was shot in the alley. I think he's running from the police. I don't know all the facts, but
was this the one that happened a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
And the police officer shot, and the kid died. He was 13 years old. He was a child, just a baby. And we can sit here and debate, right? Should the police officer have shot the kid or not? You can watch the video. How long did he have the gun? All that's debatable, right? The one thing that's not debatable is what was that kid doing at 2:30 in the morning in an alley in South Chicago where you know that things aren't going to go well? That is the root that we need to focus on.
Yeah.
Not sit here and politicize. Let's defund the police. Let's not defund nobody. Let's defund. I'm into defunding parents that don't want to care about their kids.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that are willing to adopt kids, give them love, kids, Let's focus on education. Let's focus on creating communities and resources for children. I'm 40 years old, man. Okay? I'm building my empire, my thing, and I have what I have today because I had coaches in my life. Some I liked, some I didn't like, but they were there.
Yeah.
Right? Some taught me what not to do, some taught me what to do. I had friends. I went to the park. I had team. I was in sports. I was involved, and it kept me away from all this dark turmoil.
Yeah.
Right?
A support system.
But I feel that there's less and less of that lately, and we're a world that's falling into, like you said earlier, the kids are wrapped up on Instagram and on Facebook and who liked my post, and here's the reality, right? It's not their fault. This is their reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we gotta change, right? We have to adapt to the modern world and wake up, people. If you guys think that old school is gonna work, old school ain't gonna work, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's old school principles that are gonna be here forever, but how we communicate and how we lead is evolving because the world is evolving. We as human beings are evolving, but at the surface, a child is a child. And all they want is love, man.
Yeah.
They want love and they want stability. And this is what really drives me, is that I'm more concerned about a younger generation, our kids, seeing this and thinking this is normal. My little girl yesterday told me something, and she heard me say this. I think the CDC came out and said you no longer have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated and whatnot. And my little son were, she told me, Daddy, COVID is leaving the United States of America. Like, she doesn't know, man. She's not saying it's going away. I'm like, it's leaving us.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the whole details on it, right? But here's a 9-year-old little girl who's been dying to take off her mask for a year. And a little girl that, when I didn't want to wear a mask, because I felt that I wasn't going to make my own common sense decision, right, would tell me, Daddy, put on your mask. It showed me the fear that she had of her losing her dad.
Yeah.
If my dad gets sick with COVID, he can die. That's all she's thinking about. That's the reality. So that's the fear thing. She also asked me, Daddy, why are black people and white people fighting? And then my son told me about Martin Luther King. They taught him in school about Martin Luther King. He's like, I go, who's Martin Luther King, Sean? He goes, you know what he told me, Nolan? He's the man that said black people and white people can now go to the same bathroom. That's what a 7-year-old little kid told me. In other words, he said Martin Luther King united black and white people.
See, that's the thing, though. In school, we're not educating enough. And that needs to change. Instead of talking about conquistadors and freaking all these other people. For real, if you really think about it, I'll in the textbooks, and I remember this, we would briefly talk about slavery. And where I lived in my hometown in Jacksonville, we had nothing but slave plantations up there. And we just breezed by like it was nothing. And I was always thinking, this is kind of a bigger deal than what you guys are making it seem, but they don't spend enough time on the educational part of it. Yeah, it sucks. Slavery, that should never happen. But it still happened to this day in other places, but should have never happened.
No doubt.
But what we need to do is talk about how slaves were freed and how they were able to thrive, then talk about how bad slavery was. I think that's what needs to change, and they're not talking about it in schools because they don't really know. They know a little bit about it, but they don't know it in a way where they can teach it to talk about success. And that's what we need to start doing in the schools, because if we start teaching about success at a younger age, it won't be reiterated like your son knows it to be that way. At least he'll be able to say, Martin Luther King, he's the man responsible for the Million Man March. He's the guy that talked in front of the Washington Mall. He's the one that gave that I Have a Dream speech. That's what he should be saying instead of saying the bathroom part. You know, it should be that, but it comes down to being in the schools and teaching it the right way.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think he said it from a good place. Like in his mind, he's like,
no, yeah,
he put black people, white people together.
Yeah.
And he loves sports. He watches sports. He's 7. He loves his soccer. He loves his NFL. He watches MLB. And he sees the kneeling and the standing. And they're asking questions. Kids are asking questions. They're smart, man.
Yeah.
You know, they're asking questions. And, you know, I feel sometimes, Nolan, like, look, racism is real. Mm-hmm. I don't ever think it'll go away. No. And I'll tell you why. I think it's a heart issue. If you want to be listen to me, if you want to, I don't know if it's arrogance, ignorance, evil. I think it all comes together. Mm-hmm. You can't change a man's heart.
Yeah.
Only that person.
Yeah.
If there's a bad human being out there, there's a bad human being. If somebody's going to judge you for the color of your skin, it's a lack of education.
Pretty much.
It's a lack of a lot, mm-hmm. right? But we also need to be careful with, in my opinion, politicizing race.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that there are politicians in America that will literally race. Right now it's race, and we can get over race. Maybe we can get over race tomorrow. Maybe the world, mm-hmm. But they'll find something else to divide us. Yeah. Today it's race. It's real. It's happening. It's out there. And it's sad because, I never experienced that. I mean, again, maybe I'm just lucky that I played sports. I played football, played with black people, played with white people, and I never looked at it from that perspective. Mm-hmm. Now, can I tell you that I didn't play with people who were somewhat racist? I did. Mm-hmm. But I never took it like personal.
Yeah, because you were on the same team.
You know what I'm saying?
And that was the thing.
Like, I didn't, let me start a march. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not saying a march is wrong. I'm just saying I never allowed it to,
affect you.
I never gave it this energy.
Yeah. And you're seeing it now, but it really comes down to power. When you're dealing with politics, it all comes down to power. And that's what you're seeing. The more they can divide us, the more they can at least brainwash and say, well, you need to start doing this, or we need to start doing that, or finger pointing at the other side to say, look, join us so we can fight against them. That's what you're seeing, this division only for power. And that's what egos need to just be checked at the door when it comes to politics and these politicians. And really a lot of them forget why they're in office. It's to help the people. These people that you're turning your back on are the ones that voted for you to get in there in the first place. So you need to give back. You don't need to, once you get in office, it's only about me. And I've seen it just from my mom. There's things that I've seen behind the scenes. I remember watching House of Cards, and my mom had a story for every single scenario that went on in that story. And I couldn't even believe.
I watched it. Yeah, and it's scary, man.
I was like, this is real life.
She could relate.
She's had a story for every single thing that's happened in that show. I felt like she had made House of Cards, the way she was talking about it. But to me, that opened up my eyes. And this was back in 2015. And I didn't really like politics. I just didn't like the game. But when my mom started teaching me and letting me be aware of the people that are in office are the ones that aren't doing the best job, that's when I really started noticing things going on around the world that are not benefiting the people in the communities, in the cities, and the nation. It's only benefiting the people that are in those seats that they voted for, or the people that voted for them, put them there. So they're abusing their power, and they lose sight of what they're there for. And I think that there's got to be a way we got to remind them somehow, some way. And I don't know how that happens. I'm not a genius with that, but I know it does start locally. If you don't like the person in office, get them out, and then run yourself, or find somebody that's more suitable to run. Support them, back them, put every energy, every person you can behind it to get that person out their seat, so that person that's in now can make that change. That's how my mom taught me, and that's what I believed in when she was in office too. And I think that's what needs to really honestly get done.
And I tell people all the time, we butter their bread, right?
Yeah.
Taxpayers do.
Oh, yeah.
And they're public servants, and they choose to. There's a lot of good politicians,
yeah,
and there's a lot of bad ones. There's ones who have done amazing things for our country.
Exactly.
Republicans, Democrats, whatever. But there's always been good people.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't always agreed on everything, but they've done good things.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones that are just like, it's obvious, man. Like, I'm like, you guys got to, like, people got to wake up, guys. You're being used. Like, you're like, and then here's the scary part is, and I saw this a lot during Trump's presidency, where people were like, we're going to start the Trump rally, right? And I'm like, all right, you're gonna have a Trump rally. I'm a conservative dude, and I voted for Donald Trump, and I believed in his policies.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't my God.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when Joe Biden comes out, when Joe Biden is going to be someone's God. I hate that I'm even mentioning names, but
Yeah.
They're presidents, right?
Yeah.
We vote for them. We vet the process. We go out, we vote, and they lead our country. We have to respect them. We have to pray for them.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them, whoever the next president is, they're not going to be our savior.
Yeah.
They
can only be put in place to get certain things moving.
Correct.
It's up to us to
create
do the
opportunities,
rest.
keep us
Exactly.
safe.
Yeah.
Make sure that we're negotiating with other countries.
Mm-hmm.
But that same energy you're putting into these people, put into your parents, put into your coaches, put into the people who are pouring into. Those are the people that are going to help you become the person that you want to become.
Yeah.
I don't think you do anything in life alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think human beings, we rely on each other, man. And COVID proved that.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, the amount of depression out there because of people that haven't been able to see each other. It's obvious we need each other.
Yeah.
Humans love to interact. We love to talk. It's like when I hear businesses, I'm all in on AI. I'm like, dude, AI serves its purpose, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not the answer.
No.
I'm in the insurance business.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm underwriting a policy, we're going to look at loss history. We're going to look at, probabilities. But you know what? We're going to look at those stats, and then we're going to have a conversation with the person that I'm doing business with.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to underwrite the human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if that person's committed to minimizing losses and mitigating issues, then I'm like, okay, then this is how we're going to price this deal. This is AI is doing this.
Yeah.
But there's a human being here who I think he's got drive. It's like scouting.
Yeah.
It's like you find the diamond. It's like you find the player. Like, you know what? That guy's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I believe that the humanistic approach to life is so valuable and is so important. And we have to start talking again, and we got to stop thinking that our politicians are the answer to everything, because they're not.
Yeah.
They're leaders in our communities. They're appointed by us. This country gives us the opportunity to go out and vote. Mm-hmm. But we can't sit there and blame everything on politicians, because that is a very dangerous mindset, because that tells me that either two things. you're setting yourself for failure because someone's going to let you down.
Yeah.
Right? And you're almost like, I don't think there's anybody better to bet on than yourself.
Well, you're not assuming responsibility for your own life anymore. If you're relying on somebody else to get it done for you, they got their own problems. They got their own things that they're thinking about. They're not gonna do what you think they're gonna do. So the onus is really back on the person to understand, like we've been talking about this whole time. We got to look inside ourselves to get this change done. We can't just, if things aren't working out and we're just sitting on the couch all day, we can't go and blame somebody else for our laziness. That's where it comes down to is us really jolting ourselves and saying, look, I have an opportunity. I've been given, it's not like I'm living somewhere else. Like we were saying before, this is the best place to get anything done. You have so much freedom to make something of yourself. Why not take advantage of it and find a way? Like you said, we all been given a gift. Everybody has $1 billion idea up here. It's just whether or not you're able to write it down and then stick with whatever plan that you've created. And it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be obstacles. But the ones that are always persistent, the ones that are always disciplined and diligent with it, are the ones that you see are successful. And the guys that are talking about them, oh, how did he get this, how did he get that? Those are the ones that quit. Those are the ones that were too lazy. Those are the ones that, when the opportunity came, they didn't want to take it. And now they're looking at the guys that took those opportunities and blaming them. And that's where you're seeing this divide, because there's some people that, oh, well, this needs to be done. And there's other people that's like, well, no, we need to let these other people do it. And then these other people now that are saying, well, this is what I did to create this. These other people like, well, it was too hard, or it was too difficult, or you got lucky, your situation was this, that, or whatever. And now there's just a rift. There's people just fighting each other. That's why you got haters and you got other people that are successful. And that's why they're always clashing, because everybody has a different opinion. Everybody's done things differently, and nobody is seeing the process. Nobody is valuing what people had to do to get to where they are. And those people that got to where they are aren't really sympathizing with the people that are being lazy. It's hard sometimes. And what we were talking about, the situation that people might be in, they might have just seen their dad just always be on the couch and just watch TV and just collect a check every month. That's what they know. So, hey, look, I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I can do what my dad's doing and just chill, or my mom, and I don't have to amount to much. This is it for my life, and they feel comfortable. But then now when they see somebody else, it's either trying to help them out to, hey, look, let me help you get a job. Let me put you on this opportunity. And I was like, nah, I'm good because I'm here. But then when this person is successful, they're like, oh, he got lucky from that. Or, no, he didn't do that. He skipped steps, or he had somebody else help him. That's where this discrepancy comes from in society. And, you know, it just all comes back to the household, man. It all comes back to taking responsibility for your own actions. And the more we do that, the faster we do that, the quicker things will turn around for each individual in society.
I agree, and I love, you know, I love you posted something a couple of days ago and you talked about ownership, and you could just tell that you were feeling it at that moment. You know, I don't know if you had just finished working out. And
I was. I felt it first.
And I loved it, and it was so amazing, because I'm like, every decision that you make in your life has an outcome, whether it be a positive or a negative. Mm-hmm. But you, man, you know what? There's a lot of people that say, you know what, your life is almost drawn up for you.
Yeah.
I think you're the author of your book, man.
Exactly.
I really do. I think you're the author of your book, and I think you become an expression of your thoughts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely.
Your life does.
Most definitely.
And when you live, and this is why I'm so big on mindset, when you live in an environment where you've seen your dad, or you've seen not work, and you've been in an environment where it's all about, we just collect, you know, the welfare mindset, right? And welfare is there to serve its purpose.
Oh, yeah, like
again, I'm not
that need it,
and I want to make sure that I'm not being misunderstood.
Yeah.
There are programs that are absolutely needed,
of course,
for moments in life.
Yeah.
But that is not your
whole life.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing about America is, like, you know, I tell people all the time, America's good to the hardworking person. Mm-hmm. It's good. Yeah. It's a country that has a way of rewarding hard work. Mm-hmm. It's not good for the mindset of people who don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, if you talk to most people who leave other countries that come to America, the first thing they'll tell you is because, man, I want to be able to do something.
Yeah.
Now, we're living in an era where we're doing the contrary. And this is where I have to not shy away from the political part of it, because our politicians are actually encouraging that mindset.
Yeah.
And we can't sit here no more and shy away from the facts, and because we don't want to, talk about politics. The first thing they say, don't ever talk about religion and politics. Well, those are two important subjects, so we got to talk about it, just because you don't feel comfortable. But we have to be smart and just say, okay, guys, like, we cannot rely on an outside source, third party, call it a third party administrator to run my life.
Yeah.
Because you are giving into a system that's going to suck you dry and create a mindset of dependency. And we're here to help you because you've been cheated your whole life. And you know what, man? Maybe you were cheated. Maybe you were. But damn it, go out and get yours.
Yeah.
And that's the part of me that I can't, the standard of excellence that I just can't, I have no flexibility for. Yeah. And it's not because I don't think that people get cheated, because we all get cheated, right? We've all been, you sat in a deal like, dude, I just got,
Yeah,
I
have
sold out, right? Like really bad right now. Yeah. But you said, okay, I'll bounce back. And everybody has that in them. But the more we buy into this victimization, I feel sorry for myself. It's your fault. It's that fault. It's my dad's fault. Dude, you know what? It comes to a point, and you say, so articulate, when you realize that you are the owner of your life. You're the author of your story. You now have empowered yourself to say, you know what? I'm going to do what I want in my life. Now, there's a side to that where that's not easy to do, Nolan.
Oh, yeah. Because
now we're going to create boundaries. We're going to get away from certain people in our life. We're going to make tough decisions. But those tough decisions are going, in my opinion, create emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a little bit painful, a little bit of guilt. I think it's all normal. We all go through that. Man, these people think I'm changing, but I'm not. I'm just trying to do my thing. I'm trying to play my game. I'm sure you've done that in your life, and I've done it in my life. And you want to know the irony? At least for me, at the beginning when I started doing that, I was a little scared.
I was too.
I was a little scared because I didn't want anybody to think that I thought I was better than anybody.
Yeah.
Because that's not who I am in my heart, man.
Because you're a humble person at the end of the day first.
Because I know that I'm mortal, dude. I'm just like anybody else.
Yeah.
I have a determination, and I believe that your passion is your desires given to you by God. They're already yours. You just got to go get it.
Exactly.
Right? But the irony of life is that when you stick to that game plan and you start achieving, those same people that you form boundaries against, now they want to like, whoa, what's he doing? Like, this is real.
It comes full circle.
It comes full circle.
Always. I've seen it just from the first time I was on this show. Was it 2019?
Yeah.
I think? From now, like I was in that transition where I was running businesses. I was still trying to figure things out, and it wasn't until I really distanced myself from people being more involved in the process instead of just, I don't want to say looking the part, but really diving into understanding everything that I need to do to get what I want to get done finished. So people will understand it. Because when you have this dream and this goal that's in your mind, not everybody understands it. They just can't see it the way you see it. But when you work diligently every single day, and I've always talked to Anthony about this, people then begin to see it because now it's coming to life. You're manifesting it. And those people that dropped off are those ones that now are like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Oh, damn. I need to get back with him, because at one point in time, those people thought what you were doing was crazy or was too hard or it looked impossible. But in your mind, you already had it made up. I can do this.
It's done.
And if we can get everybody to start thinking that way, no matter how hard it is, like you said, if you put in the work, the universe, I don't care what people believe in, but the universe, let's just use that, is always going to reward you. They're always going to see how many tests you endured from saying that you want to achieve this goal. Now I'll give you a gift in return. And then when they do that, that's when things just begin to turn for you because you've passed the test. You've really shown, not just to everybody else, but you've shown to yourself that you really want it. And that's what it comes down to, is just that willpower that we need to continue to instill in everybody here. It's not just kids, it's adults as well.
You use the word manifest. It's a word that I love. Johnny knows that I love the word manifest because I would challenge people to this. Wake up in the morning, and whether you're in a good mood, a bad mood, a challenge mood, find a way, take a deep breath, and start just walking up to people and saying good morning.
Yeah.
This challenge, one day challenge, good morning. Hey, it's a pleasure to see you. I hope you're doing well. God bless you. Start doing it. And all of a sudden, it's like one positive thing after the other, after the other, after the other. You're like, what's going on? You're manifesting your life. Now, I'm Christian. I read certain things, and then he told us what to think about things that are pure, things that are of good worth. There's a reason why he said that.
Yeah.
Now, if I sat there and I did the opposite, the world sucks, everything sucks, your days, you're going to just manifest that.
Yeah.
You know?
If you think positive, you'll get positive. You think negative, it'll be negative.
And it's why I believe in the renewing of the mind. Mm-hmm. And that's where I feel like America needs one big renewing of the mind meditation like day or something, you know, because like everybody just needs to stay home or be outside, take a deep breath, look up and say, you know what, man, I am going to do something with my life. I'm going to do something. And I think we will see our miracle. I really do. Because we will manifest our miracle. Yeah. We will make it happen. Yeah. But if there's no way that happens, if this mindset of victimization, third-party dependency, the blame, that mindset is only going to lead to a life of more pain, poverty, lack of resources, and last but not least, you may close your eyes and take your deep breath and say, oh my God, I didn't play my game right. Because I do believe at one point we all realize it. And that's a fear I have. Is, man, at the end of the day, you want to look and say, damn, you know what, man? When I look back, I played this game hard, man. Yeah. And I had fun with it. Yeah. And I can tell you, you're not going to have fun in this life by always depending and having people control your life, man.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that one.
That's it, man. I just wanted to have that conversation with you. I appreciate your insight.
No problem, man.
Jacksonville.
Oh, my
athletics.
School,
yeah. I mean, before we end the podcast, you started Jacksonville Athletics. Yeah. From what I understand, it's a future college or university. How can kids reach out to you and you know, one of the things that I know you're mentoring kids, you want to talk to kids, you want to get kids involved, you've got resources, you love doing that. Yeah. How can kids find you and players and
they can
parents?
Go on Jacksonville Athletic Academy site and reach out and then go through our missions, and it really comes down to what I've been saying, the community. And what I've seen when I retired, I always tried to go after guys that were retired also and try and help them, but I saw that they were so stuck in their ways of trying to do things, it was difficult to incorporate them with anything that I was doing business-wise or just foundation-wise. So what I thought about, and my brother brought this idea to me, was why don't we just create our own college that has our own curriculum, college that we control our own teams, but we also provide experience, value, and jobs for these kids so that if football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, women's soccer, none of these things work out, at least we've taught you how to be a better human being. We've shown you how to run a business, create your own LLC, file your taxes, learn about stocks, learn about just how to run a business, how to market yourself, how to just be a human being, like I said, so you can be able to give back to somebody else. And that's the reason why we created Jacksonville Athletic Academy, because we want to be able to, one, help the kids through the pandemic, or the kids that fell through the cracks, or with scouting, or kids that weren't eligible. Let's bring them to our school. Let's try and groom them to show them what it is to be a professional athlete, a person in society, and help them go Division I, or help them get a job, or help them through an internship. That's what we want to do, and I'm saying it starts with the community. If we can do things in the community, we can grow it from there. So I'm excited about it. You know, we have our first football season and basketball season in Jacksonville, so to get these kids in the building and really just interacting with them every single day, what I've seen is, you know, the household is they don't have a dad there, or they don't have a mom. Some of these guys, one of the guys we have, I'm not going to say his name, he's living with people every other week. And that's the stuff that, for me, drives you able to change. I want to be able to say that, look, I'm helping these kids change their lives, whether they become a guy that just files taxes all day. At least that's their business. You know, if a guy that, you know, he does end up playing football, that's cool. At least we can say we were helping to change his life, because his situation was, he was growing up in the hood. He was around violence all the time. Now we've put him in a better environment where he's able to thrive, survive, think only about football, think about school, and now he's playing Division I, so Clemson, Ohio State, whatever it is. You know, we can look back and say we were a part of that. And that guy can look back at us and say, hey, these guys trusted me. These guys took a chance on me. Even though I was messed up, I was bad, they still said they can help me change. And that's what we want to get into. That's what we've been talking about this whole time, is changing the community, changing how people think about what life really is.
And you're going to do it through education, which is amazing.
Education and our experience.
And going back to that kid who is sleeping in different homes, you know, I'm pretty certain that he will create the environment that he wanted and he never had for his future children.
I think so. I really think so, honestly. When we look back, let's say 5 years from now, you'll see a significant change. We're putting out a lot of kids where I think we can change a lot of lives, you know, just from this school. And we have other schools that we're going to create as well. And one down here, because we just think it's the right thing to do, man. It's not about money. It's not about any of that. It's us and the opportunities that we can bring back to the kids that have been yearning for it, have been asking for it, have been begging for it. And we're finally getting to do that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on the podcast, Nolan. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro. As always, man.